about to go down.
JD Domino, DJ Chronicles, Backspin. I am not going to introduce this guy because I can't believe you're on. How many times did I butcher your name? I did a blog. I called you this and that. I mixed you with your producer. Go ahead, introduce yourself, because I'm not going to mess.
It's all good, man. It's all good. It's all good. My name is Kenneith Perrin.
Okay. Yes. I thought it was Kenneth, but it's Kenneith.
Yeah, there's an I after the second E, and I have to blame my mom for that one because she wanted to be kind of different. I was born overseas when my dad was in the military, so she kind of wanted to give something with a little bit more flair to it. So instead of Kenneth, she said, "How about Kenneith?" So yeah,
it has that island flair to it. It has like
kind of
Caribbean,
yeah.
Especially if you do what I do, I put you with Goal or Gall,
right?
With your producer by accident.
Right.
Anyway, my first and only real question until we get going, I always ask why.
Sure.
Why did you choose the path you're in, and why you keep going?
Oh man, Yeah, no, that's a great question. I feel like I have no choice. I mean, it's something that I feel like I've been born to do as far as like create and express, and music has always been that vehicle, especially when you can see the impact that it makes on other people, and not necessarily just my sharing the music, but actually seeing other people being affected by other people's music as well. So it's powerful, man. It's healing. It gives you energy. I mean, if you're sad, you can just kind of soak up in a song, and I don't know. It's just the most amazing, mysterious gift ever created, I think. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. So
no, it does, because I want to get into the music, but before I do that, because how old were you when you first started sharing?
Yeah, sure. So I was actually 4 years old. I started off on drums before singing, believe it or not, and go around beating on my chest. Yeah. At the time, I think the Ohio Players had a song called "Skin Tight" that was really popular at the time back in the day. So I go around "Skin Tight," just kind of beating, and then eventually I kind of progressed to singing, and my first public performance was in church at the age of 6 at my granddad's church, and just kind of sort of stuck more up front ever since then. I mean, I can play and sing at the same time, but I feel like I enjoy performing up front a lot more so than just kind of sitting behind a drum set. So yeah.
Like Phil Collins.
Yeah, exactly.
Gave up the drums and goes to the front, and once in a while you can kick back. And I was an ex-drummer. The only problem with me was the hands don't go with the feet. I can never play a drum set. I'm more of a percussionist.
Gotcha.
But I got thrown into the music because it was like high school was coming.
Right.
After graduation, what are you going to do next?
Right.
I didn't have a clue. Whatever my mom said or something, yeah, that sounds good. Before I know it, I was enrolled in a radio course over at the college.
Wow.
Okay. And I learned a little bit, and I spent too much time in the at the radio station. My grades weren't that great. But anyway, I fell into it, but I had a career for 20 years as a mobile DJ. Fooled around, always wanted to get into producing, but never did. Hung in the studios, but I gave it up for a long time. And like you said, it pulls you right back. You need to hear something.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. Your hands got to start tapping, your head bobs. If you get the whole body going, it is talking. And
now
I'm going to tell you something which is bad.
Sure.
I don't have tolerance to listen to a whole song or a long period of time. I always did a 3-needle drop.
Okay.
I would play in the beginning, scan in another, go to the half. I hear something, I'll go back, and then I'm done. If it hasn't talked to me, I'm like,
within that,
in that period, I always had the talent of reading crowds, hearing music. I always broke music before music came out. We were with the record pools.
Wow.
I always had that talent. So
sure.
Sometimes I'll pull a record and then I'm ready to do something and I'm like, what was I thinking of? But other times I'll hear something, I go, I missed it. You know, you do miss them, but I mean, I've been doing that for like over 30 years now, and it hasn't hurt me. But
yeah,
it just clicks.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, I bet you have a great ear, though. I mean, you kind of have a great ear for kind of knowing what you feel like is really a hit versus what isn't. Sort of. I mean, do you feel like you've? Yeah.
I like to, like, even if it's not a hit, I can end up listening to a song. Like, say, with your music, it has that real good feel. I like that where you could be chilling. It has a great message.
Yeah.
You know, what's the one song? Bring It, I think it was. It was like a real banger.
Oh yeah, Bring It. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I could see cranking that up and going with it. Like even what was the last one? Memories.
Moment. Yeah.
I'm bad on names.
No, it's okay. Moment. Yeah. Moment. There you go. Yeah.
Like driving in the car, just having, you know, the sunroof open or whatever. And,
you
know, like certain songs, you could say, okay, that's in the dance club. That should be on the radio. I can cruise to it, but you can have a connection to it.
Yeah.
Or other songs, where's the lady at? You know what I mean? That's made for loving. How did you find me? Because we connected through the record pool without being in the record pool. I found one of your songs.
Yeah.
Because I actually had a song before Moment, but then you contacted me when I did something with Moment. And I was always curious. How do you guys know what I'm doing? Do you
I think, well, I submit like all of my dance pop type stuff with Digital DJ Pool.
Right.
So, and I think they have like a database, but what I like to do in order to thank the people that play my tracks, I try to kind of contact each DJ directly. A lot of times I don't hear anything back, but I just kind of shoot them like an email, or I try to find out, you know, what their social media channels are, so I can say, hey, you know, thanks for playing my, you know, latest track or whatever, just to say thanks. Because I mean, you know, you guys don't have to do it. I mean, I know it's subjective, but even if a song is okay versus good versus great, at the end of the day, it's up to you all to kind of provide that for the people. So I mean, you kind of have the power in your hands to kind of say, look, make it or break it. You know what I mean? So you know, I'm grateful for that. But I think for you specifically, I believe I found you via YouTube. I think I saw your name in the Digital DJ Pool, and then I found you on the YouTube channel, and I saw that I think Moment was like on one of your playlist for one of your videos, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta contact this guy, say thank you, because you're the only YouTuber DJ that I've met, or at least that I know of, that actually has a nice way of kind of laying out the songs that you like, introducing the latest songs, and then at the same time kind of making sure that, you know, you kind of give some sort of you know, comment or remark on it. I mean, that's great, man. That shows that you really take time with music. And I think that's really cool, because nowadays with everything being so quick and everybody in a hustle and a rush, it's just nice to see that you take the time to really appreciate music for what it is, you know? So so that's, to answer your question, I think I found you through YouTube. But,
okay, because that was funny. I keep talking to my buddy. He works in Tennessee. He used to DJ for me. He works in radio still. And he goes, you got to ask him that question, because I'm curious. I'm like, because I get it a couple times. There is some artists that reach out, and then I tell them what I'm doing, and then I get no return. Nobody wants to step over the other line. See,
gotcha.
I'm harmless. I'm not crazy. And then some of these other YouTubers,
Yeah.
They got the nose stuck up in the air. They're too good for you. And they don't
Yes.
want to break
Yes.
bread and talk. And it's like cross promotion.
Right.
Basically, what I'm doing now is reaching out to the ones behind the music, in front of the music,
Sure.
and getting to know their story. And
yeah, exactly.
some people think they're too good for it, or they don't want to be part of it.
Yeah.
And that's why I
Exactly.
do appreciate the time. I got a question though. During Corona,
Sure.
what did you do to keep busy? Because I'll drop a quick name since you mentioned the old timers. Remember the group Instant Funk?
Sure.
It's my neighbor.
Yeah, I remember
He
that.
yeah,
No
he
way,
lived,
man.
yeah,
Wow.
Kim. And yeah, he's the hardest one to get in touch with for an interview. I says, come on, we can yell.
What?
He lives one floor above me. But anyway, when I heard, we'll talk about the new song later, but when I heard that, I said,
Sure.
he's playing, where the heck is it? At the park, they have a summer series for concerts. And I says,
Oh, nice.
oh man, if you lived over here, I said, it would have been perfect combo because
Wow.
because the thing is they still do a lot of horn section type of music that you do,
Okay.
and it would be a great fit. In fact, I'm probably not supposed to say nothing, but they're going somewhere where you went before, Germany. They're trying to get finally.
What?
They were thinking about it a couple years back, and I talked to him, and he says, yeah, we're getting ready for the county for the park, and then plus we're maybe going overseas finally. I says, oh
wow.
And that'll be big for them because they're still known, and it's crazy about music because that song is like over 30 years old or whatever. And today, a lot of the music in the 20s, 21, you ain't going to remember them by 25. But I mean, a lot of that old, that's why, like with you got that old feel good style. You're not in the cookie cutter.
Yeah.
I hate the cookie cutter. All it is 20 minutes later. I don't know what you feel about the Weekend. I can't stand the Weekend because he's Mr. Cookie Cutter. Everything sounds the same.
Right.
I love to have his wallet.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
But I mean, it's like the name just popped up. I don't like to talk about it right now, but Britney Spears.
Sure.
Beautiful looks.
Gotcha.
You got the, and then you have somebody like Martha Wash. Beautiful voice. Loretta Holloway.
Timeless, man. Yeah.
But,
timeless.
Hey, they're too big for me. No, they're not. That's like going back. Remember, do you remember the original name of the Weather Girls?
2 Tons of Fun. Right?
And what was the original name for the Fat Boys?
Now that I don't know. I don't remember.
Disco
was that 2 Tons
3.
of Fun as well?
No, Disco 3.
Disco 3. Okay.
I'm just saying, you had 3 fat guys. They could call themselves Fat Boys. And then you had full-figured woman. They couldn't get away with 2 Tons of Fun. They had to switch.
Right.
And then the boys would go in the front line. It was okay because you had Barry White, Luther, depending on what year it was, big or small.
The heavyweights.
Yeah.
Right.
But for the women that had that powerful voice, they loved to use them in the studio, but they didn't want to put them in the front of the camera. Yeah. And I think that was terrible. Like, at least today, you have people like Adele and other ones that moved forward, instead of pushing them back. Because, like, even Britney Spears, Christine, they were all put together behind in the studio. Christine had a beautiful voice. The other one had to work on it in the studio a little bit. But the thing is, it was all for sex. What do you Now today is a different story because you have
Sure.
YouTube, you have the internet.
Right.
Do you think it makes it
Right.
easier for people that wouldn't have the opportunity to make it their own?
Yeah, I think so in some ways. It does make it easier, but at the same time, I think because the floodgates are open, it's like, you got your mom, your sister, your aunt, your dad, your grandpa, everybody is wanting to put something out there. So I think at the same time, it's kind of hard to really kind of stand out without feeling like you're having to be too commercialized or like, you're selling out or whatever that means, or too sexualized in some cases. So I think that's the challenge, just trying to find something that you as an artist can kind of present that's different, that's unique, that kind of grabs people, that they can kind of gravitate to or towards, and they can kind of relate to. So, because I know for myself, like the reason why I kind of still stay with the old school feel is because that's what really kind of gets me even to this day. Like I kind of grew up with that kind of music, and for me, the current music of today is just kind of very dark, and it doesn't really like, lift you up in any kind of way. You feel
Right.
like depressed after you hear it. I do, at least. It's very kind of darkish. So I think even though I kind of stick more with the old school frame, it's tougher because a lot of people are like, oh, that's, keep up with the times, son, keep up with the times. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of get that. But at the same time, at the end of the day, how do you want to feel? Do you want to feel good? Do you want to feel like you're, able to get through the next day? Or do you want to just feel like you're kind of down in the dumps, just playing something because it's popular at the time?
You guys just don't pump out 3 songs on an album. It's 10
Right,
songs, 12 songs.
right,
And I used to
right.
play other songs because the record label isn't promoting it, somebody spent some time to write it, produce it, and get
Yes,
it out. And I wanted to get it out.
yes,
And
yes,
that was the difference with me a lot of times. Like people used to come up all the
yeah.
time and say, huh, you're playing different stuff. And I says, I get bored playing the same thing. I was working
Thank
maybe
you.
6 nights a
Yeah,
week. And it's like they
yeah,
wrote other songs. And I like sometimes the ones
right.
that weren't on the radio better than the hits.
Thank you. Yep, yep,
And I
yep.
listen, besides doing the 3 drop, I do listen to the whole album when I get an album going back. You know what I mean? Because what
Right,
I
right, right,
like
right.
could be different than what's out there. And I like to promote
Sure,
different things.
sure,
Like even on the record pool, they'll
sure.
come out with 4 different versions. That don't mean every
Right,
version's going to be good. One version will
right.
maybe speak louder than the other one.
And another one.
And
Yeah.
there's a guy out there, and I don't want to give his name because he's like he feels like he's on what's it? The record label's coming after him. He's doing remixes.
Oh wow.
He redid
Okay.
on digital. He redid Boy
Okay.
George, and I
Oh
like
wow.
it. And he
Yeah.
came back at me and he says, "Do yourself a favor, don't promote it too much because they're coming after me, giving me threatened letters about doing copyright and everything else." And I'm like,
What?
I said, if you're redoing something,
Yeah.
I can see if it's a bootleg, fine.
Sure. Sure.
But I mean, are you making money? Because some of the jocks on the record pools,
Sure.
redo it on their own because it's a hobby.
Right.
And they're not
They just
making
like it.
money,
Yeah.
but they're redoing it. Like there was a kid from Jersey, the real deal. He redid a bunch of songs. He actually redid, remember Fat Bottom Girls from Queen? I don't know.
Vaguely. Vaguely. Vaguely.
I'll have to send it to you, but it's
Okay.
an
Yeah.
old rock,
Yeah.
it's an old rocker, but he redid it and he made it into like a gospel hand clapping type. He redid it, but
Wow.
he didn't take
Oh my
away from the
gosh.
originality. I tried to get
Oh
it on
good.
YouTube. I got blocked. And it's rough sometimes.
Yeah.
where you want to do something nice for people. I can
Right.
understand if you're making money, like
Sure.
especially the old timers. If you're taking
Sure,
their
sure.
songs and you're promoting and you're doing different
Sure.
things.
Sure.
Now here's funny. Kim from Instant Funk, he gets
Yeah.
letters all the time from YouTube saying you can't play this. He goes, I wrote it. He has to show
What?
proof. He has to show proof he wrote the song.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. What did you do during Corona to keep up?
Yeah. Well, I love performing. I love the stage. So when everything kind of shut down, that was kind of hard for me because I'm like, dang, I got nowhere to go. But I always try to keep things on a positive spin. So I said, okay, what we'll do is we'll just kind of buckle down, maybe start connecting with some producers, other songwriters, try to start working on some more tracks. And that's exactly what I did. That's how Bring It came about because, it's during the pandemic. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start doing some stuff I've never done before. I'm going to start trying to delve into some kind of remixes, maybe start with one kind of version and then see how crazy and wacky I can get as I go. So that was kind of the goal for that. But yeah, just, I find that as long as you're staying busy in one capacity or another, you don't lose your drive, So even if you're not doing the same thing over and over again, if you're doing one aspect of what you love, then to me, it's all good. So yeah.
Because I know, like with Kim, he would always tell me, like if I see him outside, hey, I'm going to be on the internet. Like he was doing a lot of shows with other artists, and they would do it, via Zoom to keep busy. And I know a lot of the jocks, they were all doing, the mixes
Live
on
streams.
YouTube. Yeah, streaming it all the time. And I don't know if you remember Fever Records going back with the freestyle days with Lizette Melendez, Cover Girls, and that. It's more Sal.
Oh yeah, like early 80s, right?
Yeah. He was doing a lot of that. And then when he can open it up, Sal was even doing the drive-in concerts where you go with your car.
Oh, nice.
And they actually did a couple of them in New York. And he would do it, which was cool. He would charge the people there, but they would also live stream it for free for the ones that couldn't go.
Okay.
So you would see the acts. Yeah, I was during that time. And it really started giving the reborn around here. I don't know.
Yeah.
Where are you now? In Atlanta or still in California?
Still in California, yeah. LA, Los Angeles.
I thought for some reason you moved to Georgia.
That's where I'm from originally.
Oh, okay.
Georgia, yeah, Augusta, Georgia, yeah. And my number is still the Georgia number, 706 area code.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
I knew I had something in Atlanta on me.
No, that's okay. That's good, man.
No, that's what he was doing. Because around here, I know the freestyle is more bigger in New York, Chicago, a little bit, Miami area.
Sure.
And they've been capitalizing. And now since things are opening up, boom, you see the concerts starting to come up. Now for you, are you starting to get some more appearances where you can go out and do live shows?
Yeah. But before I get to that, I'm glad you mentioned the freestyle. I think I just saw an ad for one on August 21st. I think here in LA, they got like this huge lineup. Lisa Cult Jam, Expose, like, all these acts. But anyway, okay. I just wanted to throw that plug in.
That's probably
so I would definitely go to that.
That's probably a Fever show. Because that's all his acts.
Okay, yeah.
Because him and another DJ, they do shows all the time together, and they have like the management with all these acts. The thing, not to cut you off, but since you mentioned the funny thing with the Cover Girls, it depends which one you go see, the original Cover Girls or the Cover Girls,
or
Angel of the original Cover Girls. There's like around 7 Cover Girls. To get back to you.
Yeah. Sorry, man. This is good stuff.
This is cool.
It's good stuff. Yeah, so I do have a couple of shows coming up, but I'm really trying to focus more on kind of putting together like a national tour, maybe starting in the fall and kind of going from the fall of 2021 all the way up to maybe summer of 2022. So that's kind of like my main goal right now. But I've been kind of doing like a couple of local shows. I think I did one at the Urban Press Winery bar like 2 weeks ago, and then one at the Federal Bar in North Hollywood. And then there's like another club date coming up with just tracks. Because I try to mix it up a bit. I'll do shows with like a full band, and then I'll also do some tracking shows too, just to kind of spice it up a little bit. But I like the full band because that way you can kind of take your time and do a lot more creative stuff, breakdowns, intros, setups, that kind of stuff. Whereas with the tracking, it's kind of like, you get on stage, you do your numbers, boom, 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 la, 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 and then, you get off and here comes the next act, So,
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
That's like I don't know if you're familiar with Ernie White. Ernie used to play with Aviator, plus he had his solo career. He did some things in California with Tommy Morato, I think it was. He had a studio in LA. His claim to fame was "Where's the Beef?" They did the song back in the 80s for Wendy's.
No way, no way. Okay.
But he also
wow,
he wrote a lot of songs for a lot of big. Ernie never got the break he should. They finally got the band together.
Wow.
They were ready to release, and the record label was falling on hard times. And I think it came to Hall & Oates, or should we break the new band? And of course, the money went to Hall & Oates, and Ernie went on the shelf.
Yeah.
And his record was compared. This is back in the Bon Jovi days. Was better than the Bon Jovi record, New Jersey.
What?
Yeah, it was. It was a good album, and it was big in Europe, but it never made it around here because it got shelved. And that's the bad thing I hate about, like today at least, you guys can go out and make your own. You don't have to really rely on the record label.
Right, right.
Because you could produce the stuff, you can end up doing everything at home even today.
Yeah, that's true.
In a home studio, and then
that's true.
Use the internet, and then go out and hustle. Instead
That's true.
But Ernie does the same thing. Sometimes he'll have it in there, acoustic. He'll have it with a band. He'll go by himself. Like he'll do all different sets.
Yeah, mix it up a bit,
And like you said, with the band, you can get a little more funky. When you're doing track, you're set because boom, it's already done, and you can't stretch it. Like say, if you see the audience getting into it, the band can feel it and say, okay, let's
keep it going. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Instead of going, but just like this interview, this is funny. Usually I'm a little more segmented. Like,
really? Okay.
We're like all over the place. It's like,
I love it, man.
But it's a good that's why I don't like to talk to anyone before I do a sit down. Because if you talk already, you're wasting a lot of bullets. You're going through a lot of stuff. And, I just don't. I have one question. Why? And then we go and then see where it goes. Now,
that's great, man.
I always joke around. I says, I'm going to be the next Hasselhoff because I got a lot of people from Germany. Now, I was playing in Germany. Now, is this right? The Cayman Islands and the Czech Republic. I saw that you played in them two spots. What's the difference, or how was your experience?
Music is really interesting because sometimes the reaction you think you'll get from one group of people is completely different than what actually happens. Like over in Germany, I thought they would be a little bit more kind of restrained. But I mean, they were like, they were really, really into it. The Cayman Islands, that was kind of done more kind of like on a cruise ship, but kind of in the area where they were kind of getting cruises and stuff. So kind of like a lot of international people. But I will say, like, just the people there overall, I mean, anything that kind of had a good groove or a good rhythm, they wouldn't be as talkative as much as just kind of just dance and move, like if they were feeling it, you could tell they were liking it because they just moved, it didn't take a whole lot of speaking or talking or anything like that. So but you know, that's the thing. You have to kind of read people. Like even sometimes during sets, if you have your set list planned, you have a song planned. Sometimes when you look at the audience, or depending on the crowd that you're kind of playing to, I may have to say, okay, I don't want to open up with this one. Let me switch it up and maybe open up with this one first, because I think they may kind of get more into it, or maybe at the end save something
Right.
and switch it up at the last minute. So yeah, man, it's you know, I've kind of had to learn over the years that it really is sort of an engagement. You know, performance is like engagement. You know, even like being a DJ, I guess it's like engagement, because you want to spin the records that you feel like will get people talking, moving, and grooving. You know, so the same thing with performing live. It's like, okay, let's kind of see if we can kind of create something that gets them to kind of give back to you. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah. Last Saturday was the first time I was in a club over 20 years. I had to go see a friend of mine, and I was hanging around. And the joke with me is he wants to teach me how to mix. So he was showing me as he was doing his thing. And it was funny where there wasn't too many people in the club. And it's the place is 70s, 80s, and 90s. He's doing it, and it's a cousin of mine that opened up the club where they're doing all the old stuff, and he don't want to do any new. And the funny thing is, Bob turns around, looks at me, and I'm like, I don't know if you noticed, there's like 15 people sitting down, but they're all bobbing. I says, just because they're not on the dance floor, don't mean they're not into it. I says, you got them doing the bob, because when I used to do the rock, if you don't see the, you know, movement going, then you're like, uh-oh. But like you said, you need that feedback to come back. Even I remember one night, one of the bartenders comes up to me and says, do you know what the heck you're doing? And I says, what do you mean? He goes, come here. The bar I was working at had a back room. And I couldn't see anything in the back room, but I was feeling a vibe. And all of a sudden I looked, and he goes, they were doing this for the last 45 minutes. There were around 20 of them all dancing in the back.
What?
And I said, I felt an energy, but I says, I didn't know where it was coming from.
Where it's coming from, right.
And then I always found out, like for me, I hated requests. I had to play them, but I had my better nights when I didn't, because I used to have like around 3 boxes of 45s for your old timers, the little records.
Wow.
And I never got into them. And then when I didn't get requests, one night I says, I'm doing a 45 night. I dipped in, it was some 70s, 80s, and this was back in the late 80s, early 90s. But people were coming up and they're like, I haven't heard this in a long time. I says, they're like, and some of them would say, man, you sounded great tonight. I said, see what happens when you don't take requests? But it's like you putting your playlist together, you get a feel. Sometimes you move things around to keep it going. But I could see Germany getting into your music, because I don't know if you see the trend these days. You got Block and Crown, and then also Martina Booby, or I can never say her name. It's Budde.
No, but I know you're talking about. Yeah,
they do 70s, 80s, and 90s remixes. They did a remix on Celebration, Kool and the Gang. They brought it into 2020. I mean, they added a little rap to it. They didn't overkill it.
Wow.
I mean, they do a lot of stuff. Even Martina. Now, Martina on a story, if you look at her, you would never know how old she is. She started when she was 50.
Okay.
She ended up having a dream. Yeah, she started DJing when she was 50. She's 55 now.
Wow.
Owns her own label. She had 5 nightclubs that she used to like going to, and she says, I want to DJ them within a couple years.
Wow.
And she hit, I think, 3 or 4 out of the 5 within 2 years.
What?
And she was playing her own music, and she's hooked up with you see her all the once in a while with Block and Crown. I call it the law firm, but they're incredible, and it's like a lot of their music. It stinks that you don't hear it over here. In fact, it started here, but I can see Germany get into your sound because that's what you're getting from a lot of the European producers. You got that new disco.
Yeah.
I don't know why they call it new disco, but then you got like 50 terms
like,
of house. I call it music. I put everything under dance. It's dance music. It makes you move.
Thank you. Because you're moving one way or the other. Yeah, exactly.
Techno can stay all the way over on the other side, though, because techno's not
right.
I don't get into the techno.
A little bit too mechanical. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they got that don't do this one. I don't if I hear it on your record, I'll turn it off. The fart.
Oh no.
They have that little electronic sound like wah, wah. They always got to put that in. It's in house, it's in techno, it's like that weird like it's like a weird sound. And then somebody says, "Ooh, that sounds so good. Let me keep doing it."
Yeah.
No, knock
Kill
it
it
off.
to death.
Yeah. Thank God they didn't have the buttons when I was playing. It was just in and out. What is your favorite music when you have to just chill out and nothing like you're playing? What's your favorite stuff?
Wow. You know what, man? I'll be honest with you. I feel like a music mutt a lot of times because I feel like I kind of run the full gamut. I myself am more of an Apple Music user than I am a Spotify user because I feel like Apple Music is more just kind of user friendly. But I think for the most part, it's just listening to good dance remixes, like a song, maybe like an EP that has maybe about 7 or 8 versions of the same type of song.
Right.
I mean, the same song, but 7 different 8 versions of it. So, you can have a house, you can have a trap, you could have a disco, you could have the original, you could have the radio edit, you could have the instrumental, anything that kind of, or acapella even. Yeah, to me, those are like my favorite types of things to listen to, especially if I'm kind of working on something like a house project maybe, or trying to clean up or something. It just helps me keep the flow going, and it puts me in a good mood too. So yeah, that's kind of my main go-to. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, me for some reason I'm an XM guy once in a while, and I'll find myself on Studio 54 with the old disco.
Yeah.
But I used to do Pandora, and I used to make my own stations. I just throw one artist up, and then whatever came up with them. I haven't been on Pandora for around a year, but usually I'm more of a talk head because I worked in radio for 20 years as a producer behind the scenes for news talk and sports. And I always like just listening to talk radio, but once in a while I'll break loose with either Hair Nation, which is like the old metal, Cinderella, Tesla, stuff like that I used to play back at the bar, or I go to the extreme to the Studio 54. The funny thing is, I'm playing rock and roll, and I'm sitting in the booth on a Saturday. If I was bored, I'm listening, and they would come up to me and they're like, "Oh, what new song you listening to?" I'm like, "Here, you want to take a listen?" I was actually listening to the live broadcast down the street at the nightclub, and they used to go, because they're like, "You're lucky we love you." Because I'll be listening to my dance music, I'll be playing them rock and roll,
right?
But I ended up got the gumption, and like you said, you got to find the right knack. Now this bar, when I started, it was some of the the Breed Motor Gang was there, and it was phasing out, and you still had some hardcore people in there, and I knew the girls that were coming in. They used to come to our place, drink cheap, and then go to the nightclubs. There was like 2 other nightclubs down the road from us. And even on a Friday, Saturday, it was just cheaper,
Okay.
you know, bought a $1.25 drink
Cool.
instead of going to the nightclub for $3.50. So they would go
Cool.
to the club. So all of a sudden I used to play a game with myself. Let's see how long we can keep them here. So I would play a dance song. You throw something in like back Tone Low, Funky Comedine, because
there you
even
go.
the rockers
There
got
you go.
into it. And then all of a sudden,
Sure.
boom, I would hit them with something like Loretta Holloway or something hard thumper.
Nice.
And people used to go, I can't believe. One guy came up to me, big burly motorcycle guy. He goes, if I don't see that, I don't want to hear this. And he pointed to the girls' ass. He goes, as long as they're shaking it, I don't care what you play. Because it was funny. I used to get the motorcycle guys up there dancing with the girls too. And
what? No way.
And the thing is, you got to know your crowd, know how to play it.
Yeah.
Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Now, I had a bunch of jocks that worked for me. They would never play dance music in there because they were afraid.
Wow.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
If I got bored one night, I used to say DJ choice, and they're like, boo, because they knew I was going to play a dance song. And I would play something real thumping. You know what I mean? Just the
pulse.
Generate a little, piss them off a little bit, get them going, and then next minute, boom, come back with something they like, and they be regenerated. This is a funny story. Buddy of mine that was working with me, his brother was Secret Service during Reagan and Bush. And Mike liked to come in, and his boys liked to, where I was playing at, they used to like to hang. They used to do a circle. Like 1 month they'd be over this guy's house. They would take their leaves together. So all of a sudden I get the phone call from Gary, the guy that worked for me. He goes, yeah, Mike and the guys are coming in. So I talked to the owner. I says, yo, I got the president's men coming in. He goes, okay, bring them over to me when they come in. I'm going to take care of them. They all signed the ABC book. He signed them on as bouncers for the night. So just in case something happened. So all of a sudden we're playing. They're up on the bleachers next to the DJ booth. Everybody's having a good time. They're drinking. I'm doing my thing. I get this guy. He wants Zeppelin. I said, nah, I can't do this. I said, I'll work on it because it wasn't fitting. You know what I mean? The crowd that night. Like some nights you get a crowd that hits hard as soon as you start. And certain nights you can ease in with some off the wall request. So
warm them up a little bit. Yeah.
So here's the funny thing. All of a sudden I hear bleep, bleep, bleep. I turn my back and then I hear bang. And I'm like, and the record's like skipped, and I hear, if you move, you will die. And I looked underneath over top of the DJ booth. You had all the president's guys, they all had a vital spot on this guy. And
what
I found out was when I turned my back, he was going to throw a beer bottle at me. They hooked him, threw him to the ground, and they all had spots on his legs, on his arms. And they says, if all they had to do was pinch him, and that's all they learned how to do every day, how to kill somebody with their hands. So anyway, they're walking him to the door, and all you hear is boom. I thought you were opening the door. No, I thought you had the door. They rifled him through the door, and then they threw him out. But I says,
wow.
I said, I feel safe tonight. Because if you had, you had the president's men watching your back that night. But I mean, it was funny how quick they were on eliminating the situation and everything. And it was like, now, you have any stories like that?
No, man, I couldn't compete with that.
Women throwing panties at you or anything? Like the old Tony Orlando and Dawn
that is yet to happen.
Oh, okay.
We've gotten close to them at least getting up to the stage, but as far as them taking the panties off, no, that hasn't happened just yet. We're working on it. We're working on it. I was going to ask you, since you did play, I guess, like heavy metal or rock music at one point in time, did you ever get a chance to meet some of those acts too? Because like I saw Dee Snider on Celebrity Family Feud like last Sunday. It was really cool to see that, some of these guys are like still around, kind of doing their thing. But like, have you ever got a chance to meet any of these guys? Or
Yes, and Dee Snider just came out with a new song. It was just released
oh, I
on
didn't
one of
know
the.
that.
I'll send that to you. It was by himself
Hey,
too.
okay,
It wasn't with Twisted Sister. It was a solo.
okay.
But
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
yeah, there was a band. I always mess the name up. Not Bullet Boy. Was it Bullet Boys or? It'll come to. I always mix it up. But anyway,
Sure.
the one kid that was in the band was from Yardville area where I grew up, and one of
Okay.
the regulars always told me about the band, and
Mhm.
I said sure. I said I went out, bought it, and I was playing. I always like to play local artists and support them. So all of a
Sure,
sudden one night he
sure.
comes up to me, he goes, "Hey, do you got that album? I'm with a couple of my buddies. They don't believe you have it." I'm like, "Yeah, here." I give it to him, and he hands it back, and he goes, "Look at the back."
Yeah.
And I says, "Oh, there's two signatures out of the three." And he goes, "Yeah, come on over. They want to meet you." I went over there, and they said, "We appreciate your support." He goes, "Because a lot of guys locally won't support you." And I said, "Yeah, I play."
Wow.
Back in the day, I used to do a lot of cassettes. Like people will bring me cassettes of
Sure.
bands. I play them. And that's why I got back into doing this again.
Sure.
Supporting the
Sure.
locals, supporting people that are out there trying to, bring out their talents. And yeah,
Sure. Sure.
that was a surprise for me. And then I found out like I didn't really meet a lot of the big names, but
Sure.
I was around it. But it was nice to know when they knew I was supporting them, they would always get the
Yeah.
message
Yeah.
back. Like with Ernie White,
Yeah.
it was funny one night. I walked up to him. I says, "You own Monday nights. I do Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights." I said, "Why don't we do a Tuesday
Yeah.
night?" I pulled him in. He did a guest DJ spot with me. And it was
Nice.
we had the whole band there, and they all took spots. They were DJing. Usually Tuesday night,
Wow.
there's nobody in the place. You couldn't move. It was like 300-400 people in there. And
Sardines. Oh my gosh, man.
it was a good time because then he even grabbed. I says, "Ernie, you ever hear this band? They're all right. They're not that." I played one of his songs. He grabbed the mic and he started singing. And then all of a sudden, I grabbed the other mic,
Wow.
and the band is out there. They're doing chorus with them and everything, and it was a fun time, and it was nice.
Wow.
I had charities where I was doing fundraisers, and I can always reach out to the local guys.
Yeah.
Some of
Yeah.
them, like I said, they were tied up with bad management. A lot of guys you
Yeah.
feel should be out there, but then
Sure.
they get the wrong management and they don't go nowhere.
Oh no, I was just gonna say no. That's so important. I think one thing that I've enjoyed just kind of being an artist and singer songwriter is the joy of independence. I recently decided that I really don't want to sign with a major label. I'd rather just have like maybe like a good distribution deal of some kind,
Right.
because I feel like the more you can stay self-contained and kind of make good on what you have, I think the more successful you can become. Because like if when you sign, it's like you're kind of giving pieces of yourself away, and you don't always get that back in return. Especially even though they give you like a big advance and stuff, it's like all the promo and everything else is kind of eaten up into that. So really, you're not really getting anything. I mean, it looks good on paper, but in reality, it's not the same. But anyway, don't get me
No,
started. That's like another album within a song.
that leads into what I was just going to ask you though, with that, because
Okay.
I watch a lot of documentaries, and I
Sure.
was watching. I think it was on TV too. It was about hip hop And I kind of liked it because I'm not into hip hop. I'm more into that party rap thing. But it showed the gangster and the culture, and they were going in.
Right.
And some of the artists, the producers, got screwed on that nice piece of paper because they said, we don't read it, we just sign it because we think we want to be a superstar, and we don't realize we're paying for everything. We go out to dinner, we're paying for it. We go out to here, we're paying for it. We want extra lights with boom booms on stage, we're paying for it. And unless you're Michael Jackson, where you can afford, you know, them videos that he paid millions of dollars for and everything else. But I mean, a lot of these guys go bankrupt. Look at New Edition. When New Edition started, the moms are like, where's our money? And they didn't realize it was going for the concerts, it was going for this, the videos, the limos, the buses, and they don't tell you. And that's one thing. The one guy on the documentary goes, it's there. Nobody reads it. It says, this is what you're, he goes, so if you're that stupid, you don't want to read it, I'm going to take it. And he goes, they took it from me. They took it from me. Nobody warned me. So why should I do the same thing? It's standard practice in the industry. And like you said, it's better off sometimes when you're doing your own thing. Like my buddy, friend of mine, he ended up, was a postal worker, DJ for years. He worked all over the place. He did mix on the radio. He had around 5-6 radio stations he used to do the mixes with. He retired. Went to, he decided to do his dream in his late 50s, open up a recording studio. And now, 10 years later, he ended up, he's doing independent films. And in Philadelphia, he got around 3 or 4 films under his belt. And the thing with him is he keeps hustling for what you said, distribution. He wants to be his own man. If he gets backers, fine. But he wants to do the product he wants to do. And I admire him because he self-taught himself. He learned. It goes back to like Martina. She learned on her own, embraced, and went forward. And it's the moral to the story is you're never too old. So if you want to be a singer,
man. That is so true.
If you want to be a singer, if you want to mix, you want to DJ, you want to do anything, go do it. Who is stopping you?
And I think that's such a important message. Because I think the industry, especially entertainment industry, is so youth driven all the time. And it's almost like if you haven't quote unquote made it by a certain age, then you're basically like wasted goods. And that's not true. I mean, I think in a lot of cases it's the exact opposite. I think sometimes the older you are, the more seasoned you are, and the more you can bring to the table, basically,
Right.
So.
Besides your own music, do you also produce, or you produce your own stuff, or do you do others? I know you work with a partner.
You know what? I consider myself a producer, but mainly in the sense on the creative end. I don't have a lot of the technical knowledge skills as much as like a normal producer would have. But I know what I like, I know what I'm looking for, and I know the sounds that I kind of want to record. So when that happens, I'll kind of work from sort of like a template as far as like maybe having song references, looking at Audacity and kind of figuring out like some of the end plugs or, the outputs or whatever to figure out, okay, this is the sound I'm kind of going for. Then I'll partner up with maybe a person that actually does do just nothing pretty much but producing, or they might co-write or produce, or, mixture of the both, but they have more of the technical expertise than I do. And we'll sit down together or either like over the phone or online or whatever, and we'll just kind of hash out exactly what we're trying to bring together for the final product. I do that not on all my songs. Some of them, other songs, I'll just kind of take the lead, especially if it's like a pre-produced backing track that I had somebody do for me, and just
Right.
lay the vocals on it and just go from there. So yeah, it depends. But what I've learned, man, is even with all of that, your relationships are the most important thing, because if you're working with people that you can gel with, you can vibe with, and kind of get your vision, and then kind of know what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. To me,
Right.
those are like the best, partnerships to be a part of, because not only can they do that with you, but they can also give you some extra ideas and insights that maybe you didn't have. Because a lot of times you kind of get tunnel vision doing what you do, and it's nice to kind of
Right.
have an extra set of ears or eyes to kind of help you work on with what you're working with. So
Well,
yeah,
that's like you said, if you have the ear, you can hear things
yeah,
even though you don't know how to
yeah,
work the equipment. I was in Johnny's studio one time. We're
sure,
fooling
sure,
around. He had his rappers come in. He goes,
yeah,
"Come on, let's have some fun before the guys come in." So all of a sudden, he was bringing out some Al
yeah.
Hurt, and we're listening to Al Hurt records and
Oh,
stuff. So all of a
yeah,
sudden, he goes, he had the boys in, and I'm like, something was missing. I said, John, why don't you get that Al Hurt record, the third track, reverse it? Don't play it forward, reverse
yes,
it, drop out the third beat and
genius.
give it an N4. And the guys are like,
Yeah.
who the hell is this guy? And John goes, that's the ear. This man knows music. He goes, oh, I thought it was your bouncer. He thought I was his bodyguard in there. I'm like,
Oh
no.
no, dude. Oh
But
no.
it was funny because you had three black kids, all the rappers, and they thought who the hell they were.
Sure,
And they're like, who's
sure,
this
sure.
white guy trying to tell them? Meanwhile, we're right next to we're in Philly next to Jazzy Jeff's studio. So you had a lot
Oh,
of
okay. My mom's from Philly, by the way. Yeah.
oh,
So
okay. I'm in outside the Trenton
yeah.
area, so right down the street, basically.
Oh,
But
nice.
it's
Okay.
funny where perception. They'll look at you and they'll say,
Yeah.
are you for real? And then all of a sudden you start playing or start doing things and people are like, oh, okay, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
What did you do with Reels? With the Reels channel, you're also an actor? I thought it was
Yeah. It's so yeah, I've only been in LA for about maybe 5 years. And one of my goals when I moved out here was to actually kind of do some acting as well. Sort of like a cross hybrid acting, and then also introduce my music into indie film as well.
oh,
Because
okay.
I'm friends with filmmakers, yeah. So a lot of them have kind of used my songs in their movies. But I did some background acting work or character work in the TV show called Demons in the City of Angels for the Reels channel. So it's kind of like reenactments, basically. So like for the O.J. Simpson, I think I was like the one of the attorneys. I had to dress up in a suit and act like I was, cross-examining O.J. and thinking one. And then another one I played like a detective, so I
Oh,
didn't have like
okay.
any speaking lines. I just kind of make all my facial expressions go and kind of overact basically. But it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So yeah,
Is that
yeah. And I
something
hope to
you
get
would
back
want?
into that eventually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
don't touch Rick if you
Yeah.
can't do it. And that's
Yeah.
one
Thank you.
guy I would love to see him in concert because I've seen enough of him on
Oh, totally,
YouTube.
man.
And he's one
Right,
person
right.
that embraced what he was about back in the
Yeah,
80s. Everybody makes a joke
totally,
out of him,
totally.
but he
Yeah.
embraced it.
Rick rolled. There you
And
go.
what the heck was I think he even has fun with his daughter with the stuff, and it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the one drummer, I forget his name from uh one of one of the bands from Seattle. Now he's with Pearl Jam, I think it is. He's Dave Grohl.
Dave
Grohl,
Grohl, yeah, Foo Fighters. Yeah,
yeah, Foo Fighters. If you ever have a
yeah.
chance, Google Foo Fighters or Dave Grohl and Rick Astley. They came out and did
Okay.
Never Gonna Get. and they did it in rock. They made it a metal.
Whoa.
And he came out on
No.
stage and he killed it. So if you ever,
No way, man.
anybody out there, go see the video. I always put it on my Facebook group once in a while, and people are like, they can't believe it, but it's he, like Dave Grohl said, he's a badass. Rick Ashley. He came out there and they're playing. Grohl's like, and all of a sudden Ashley came out. He's working the stage. Yeah, and it fit. It worked.
Wow.
And it was like something you would never think about. Then you have somebody on the other end, you know, Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
He used to come to Philly, and his stipulations on interviews were with the local radio stations, you do not talk about Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, or he'll walk away.
Really?
He will not. He does not want to be a part of that in his life. And
did he have a bad breakup with them, or did he just
he was just embarrassed. I don't know if you remember.
Really? Okay.
Like Bryan Adams. Bryan Adams did a great dance song. It was it Want to Take You Dancing? It is hard.
I don't think I heard that one.
If you ever get a chance, good luck, because now they got a female singing it, and he does not want to be a part of it because he's Mr. Rock and Roll, and that was like one of the big dance songs back in the day when he first started.
Wow.
I think, Let Me Take You Dancing, but it's I don't know what's wrong with you people. If you have a hit, it's part of your repertoire. Embrace it, right?
Go. There you go.
CC DeVille told what's his name? Ice Baby.
Vanilla Ice. Yeah.
Vanilla Ice was on that documentary, was on that show, and he didn't want no part with singing Ice Baby. He would only do it in the punk. And CC goes, dude, look at us back in the 80s. Makeup, this, that. He goes, we embraced it. And he says, embrace it. And now he does. He embraces the role. He'll still go by his name, Rob. But I mean, he'll end up throwing in, you know, Vanilla Ice. But if you had something, one documentary I got to tell you, I don't know if you ever saw it, The Eagles. It's like around 5-6 hours long.
No, but I love the Eagles. So as a matter of fact, I've always wanted to do a remake on Take It to the Limit. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay. We'll end it with this because this is perfect. Don Henley goes to the one member.
Sure.
The guy ended up, I forget the song. He had the high pitch vocals at the end of the song and in the beginning. And I don't know if it was Take It to the Limit or one of the ones. But anyway, the guy goes to him, he goes, I'm done. I don't want to sing this no more. And he goes,
what?
Who the hell for you? He goes, do you think I want to play half of the shit we play every night on stage?
Ooh.
He goes, no. You know why I play it? Because these people are paying money to hear us play it. So
there you go.
So I'm playing it for them, not for me.
There you go.
And
there you go.
I mean, you would, if you like the Eagles, it's a great documentary because it shows like Don Henley and Glenn Fry, they were the alpha males. And then when Joe Walsh came in, Joe Walsh goes, there's too many damn alpha males around here. He says, but I'm picking the two to make me money. He goes, so whatever they want, I'll do. Yeah. Because in the beginning,
there you go.
They used to bring Joe Walsh out for encores, and they would roll him up into the box, like one of the your rigs, and they would open up the door, and he'd come out playing Rocky Mountain High. And
what? No way, man! Wow.
And that's how he started. And then they had the opening, and they put him in the band, and because that band's like a bunch of all-stars. I mean,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
And like Walsh said, he goes, there's too many alpha males around here, and this alpha male knows when to shut the hell up. I had my time when I was by myself, but these two, they're driving the bus. And
wow,
that's the best, speaking of that, we'll end with
Yeah.
your new song. I'll play that, but you only came out with the little tease. When you coming out with the whole song? Because I got the 2 minute
Actually,
and
that is the
14
whole.
second. Oh, that is the whole?
That is the whole song. Yeah. For the first time, believe it or not, that is like the shortest song I've ever recorded. But for some reason, I just feel like it's done. And it's gonna be on the upcoming album in August. But now, if you think maybe I should go back, should I maybe go back and do an extended mix on it? Maybe make it longer, you think? Or what do you think?
I thought it was self-contained pretty good, but I'm just saying off of standards. You know, usually you're
It was like, yeah.
like an extra minute, but I
Yeah.
mean, the song, I love the instrumental breaks in there, and then plus the one thing last night I was talking to Dave on the phone, and with him, he's in Tennessee, so I hate it. We talk around 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock on his side, 2 on mine, and I says,
Sure.
You know what, dude, I'm gonna interview this guy tomorrow. I says, I want you to hear the song you just sent me. I said, let me know what you think. He goes, damn, too bad you'll never hear that on the radio. But he goes, the voice, the music, it goes together beautiful. Because it's like, I'll give you the compliment.
Wow, what a huge compliment, man.
It's like Sinatra. When Sinatra sang, he became part of the band. And that's one thing I hear in your voice.
Yeah.
You become part of the band, the instruments, where it all meshes together. And when he meant about not being on the radio, it's because of that cookie cutter. You don't fit that cookie cutter.
Sure.
But
exactly,
if people pick up on things I do, other people do, that's where the revolution starts. And then when I was doing the vlogs, I always said, we can do a revolution. All you have to do is, if you don't hear this song, you like it, call your radio station and say, do you have blah, blah, blah? And they say no. But then if you got 50, 100, 200 people, more people calling, they're going to know it and they're going to play it. Even because now they know you guys know it. So they're like, like my buddy, what was it? Johnny High Track. When John was doing his mix shows, he was playing, remember Snap? Got the Power.
I got the power. Yeah.
He would play that, and then all of a sudden he got pulled into the office. His Nick calls him up the next day. He goes, John, I got to talk to you. When you're up, come to my office. He goes, what the hell was that song? I got the power. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, I got people calling me up on the phone asking me why don't we play that on the radio? And he was like me.
Wow.
We'll break stuff before it comes out. And he was playing it.
Yeah.
After that, he would have to tell the record pool he needs 2 copies of every song, because if it was a hot one, he would have to give Nick. The funny story is, Nick was the music director along with the PD. So why wasn't Nick getting the music? Yeah.
Whoa.
But, like, the moral of the story is, thank God for the DJs that were doing the mix shows, because they were playing a lot of different stuff that the radio wouldn't play. Like with your stuff, you can move that into a mix show, and then people go, I never heard that.
What is that?
Something different.
Yeah.
So, you know, we all work hand in hand, and that's why it goes back to where we started from. Why are they striking us if we're promoting you?
Thank you. Hello. I mean,
some people,
it's kind of counterproductive, you know.
Now I have permission to put that in my because one thing I did was I stopped doing the vlogs, and I'm doing DJ Chronicles dance radio and rock radio. And instead of talking, I just do like a half-hour set of the new music. And I found out I'm getting more play and more movement on that.
Yeah.
What I was doing on the 5-minute vlogs introducing the records. I'm just playing the stuff, and more people are listening to it now, and it's starting to get a little traction. But if I know that's your final one right now, I'm going to put it in one of my next releases, as long as YouTube says it's not blocked.
Please do.
Yeah, because I
it's all mine. Yeah, it's all original. Yeah.
Put it this way: if I didn't like your stuff, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You know what I mean? I
Wow,
really
man, no,
like what you're
that
doing.
means a lot. Yeah. No.
And I'm
Thank you,
willing to
man.
help promote that way. Anytime, if you got other projects or whatever, we could do shorts
Sure.
and promote it. But I'm going to leave
Sure.
now. Give me a little intro and end the show with your new song. Tell me about the new one that we were talking about.
All right, so this next song is called Focus. It's the first single from my upcoming album entitled Blind Oblivion. Keep your eyes on the prize, folks.
I can't explain it. Seems like everything is going wrong. I gotta pause and remember. Mama and Papa said, son, you better tighten up and keep your eyes on the prize. Gotta focus, oh, gotta focus. Keep your eyes on the prize. Gotta focus, oh, gotta focus. You in hesitation. The promises of God are true. Just believe, stay motivated. Take one step and see what you can do. You better focus, yeah. Eyes on the
The dance floor is now open.